From unsolved mysteries to unexplained phenomena, from comedy gold to relationship fails, Amazon Music's got the most ad-free top podcasts, included with Prime. Because the only thing that should interrupt your listening is, well, nothing. Download the Amazon Music app today.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic!
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
Hi everyone, this is Peter, and I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude for joining us today. If you're finding as much joy in listening to History Shorts as I do in researching and sharing its fascinating topics with you, be sure to click that subscribe, like, and share button wherever you're tuning in. Spread the word to your friends, and don't forget to leave a review. They do matter. Now, without further ado, let's dive into our latest episode. Everyone has heard of the great Greek philosopher Socrates, who lived in Athens in the 5th century BC, and who, together with his student Plato and the latter's own pupil Aristotle, made up the basis of modern philosophical thought. But did you know that the famous thinker was sentenced to death by the Athenian jury in 399 BC on the charges of impiety and corrupting the youth of Athens? I am your host, Peter Zablocki, and this is History Shorts. Socrates, born circa 470 BCE in Athens, was the son of a stonemason and a midwife. He belonged to a lower Athenian social class and received a basic education in literature, music, and gymnastics. Unlike many other philosophers of his time, Socrates did not leave behind any written works. Most of what is known about him comes from the writings of his students and contemporaries, particularly Plato. Socrates' philosophical method is known as the Socratic method, where instead of lecturing or providing answers, he engaged in dialogues with his students, asking probing questions to stimulate critical thinking and uncover deeper truths. Throughout this dialect method, Socrates sought to expose contradictions in people's beliefs, leading them to a state of perplexity and prompting them to reevaluate their assumptions and beliefs. He famously claimed the unexamined life is not worth living, emphasizing the importance of self-reflection, critical inquiry, and the pursuit of knowledge and wisdom. Socrates questioned conventional beliefs and social norms, challenging his fellow Athenians to think critically about their values and actions, which often led to his being perceived as a provocateur. The issue that led to Socrates' eventual trial and death stemmed from his habit of questioning traditional religious beliefs and practices during his philosophical dialogues. Socrates' relentless pursuit of truth and his probing inquiries into matters of ethics and metaphysics often challenged the authority of the established religious institutions. Ancient Athens was a deeply religious society where religious beliefs and rituals played a central role in public and private life. The Athenians worshipped a pantheon of gods and goddesses, including Zeus, Athena, and Apollo, and they observed numerous religious festivals and ceremonies throughout the year. Religious piety was highly valued in Athenian culture, and deviations from traditional beliefs or practices were viewed with suspicion and distrust. Any perceived disrespect or irrelevance towards the gods was considered a serious offense against both the divine and the social order. While Socrates himself claimed to believe in a divine or spiritual realm, his method of questioning and his skepticism towards received wisdom led some Athenians to perceive him as a heretic and an atheist. He did not help his case, however, when he encouraged his followers to critically examine their beliefs and to question the authority of everything, including established religious institutions and rational beliefs about the gods, morality, and the afterlife. In addition to questioning traditional religious beliefs, Socrates was also accused of introducing new deities or spiritual beliefs to his followers. And while there is little concrete evidence to support the accusation that Socrates did indeed introduce new deities, his philosophical inquiries into matters of theology and metaphysics were likely enough to lead some Athenians to perceive him as a potential threat to traditional religious orthodoxy. In addition to the charge of impiety, Socrates was also accused of corrupting the youth of Athens. This charge reflected concerns among Athenian citizens about the influence of Socrates' teachings on the younger generation. Athenian society placed great importance on the education and moral upbringing of its youth. The younger generation was seen as the future of the city-state, responsible for upholding its values and traditions. Socrates' habit of questioning traditional beliefs and challenging authority figures was perceived as subversive and potentially corrupting to the moral character of the youth. Socrates' educational methods differed significantly from traditional Athenian pedagogy, which centered on teachers delivering lectures or imparting knowledge directly, being told what they should know. The Athenian authorities, eager to prevent social unrest, viewed the by then already popular Socrates as dangerous. It is important to note that the trial of Socrates that ensued took place against the backdrop of political and social unrest in Athens. The city had recently undergone a period of upheaval, including the Peloponnesian War and the overthrow of the Athenian democracy by the Spartan-backed oligarchy known as the 30 Tyrants. Many Athenians were weary of individuals who questioned authority or challenged established beliefs, fearing that such individuals could disrupt the fragile stability of the city-state post-war. Plato's dialogues, particularly Apology, offer valuable insights into the accusations brought against Socrates during his trial and his defense against them. In the defense, Socrates refuted the charge of impiety by asserting his belief in a divine and spiritual realm, as evidenced by his references to a divine voice that guided him in his philosophical pursuits. He argued that his questioning of traditional beliefs was motivated by a genuine desire to seek wisdom and virtue rather than disrespect for the gods. Socrates also addressed the charge of corrupting the youth by arguing that his interactions with young Athenians had been beneficial rather than harmful. He contended that his philosophical inquiries have encouraged critical thinking and moral reflection among his followers rather than leading them astray. Regardless of an eloquent self-defense, Socrates was found guilty by a narrow margin of the Athenian jury. He was given the opportunity to propose his own punishment, but refused to propose anything that would compromise his principles or integrity. After being found guilty, Socrates was sentenced to death by drinking a cup of poisoned hemlock. This method of execution was a common form of capital punishment in ancient Athens. Socrates accepted his sentence calmly and without fear. He believed that death was not something to be feared, as it represented the separation of the soul from the body and the beginning of a new journey for the soul. In the days leading up to his execution, Socrates remained composed and continued to engage in philosophical discussions with his friends and followers instead of shying away from the spotlight. Socrates' friends and followers urged him to escape from Athens and avoid execution, but he refused to do so. He believed that obeying the laws of the city, even unjust ones, was essential to maintaining the integrity of the social order. On the day of his execution, Socrates drank the cup of poisoned hemlock in the presence of his friends. According to ancient accounts, he remained calm and composed until the effects of the poison took hold, and then he was gone, leaving behind nothing but wisdom. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to check out History Shorts on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you listen to your shows. You can also visit HistoryShortsPodcast.com.